Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. I thank you who are here in the audience, and I thank you for those who are virtual. It is a very important moment that we are going to share together, and I greatly appreciate all of you being here. My name is Dr. Linda Whitehead, and I am the Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for the City of Bellevue. And I am extremely proud of our city at this moment. I would like to begin by telling you the purpose for today. Why are we gathered? Why are we gathered in this space? And we're gathered here to remember. That's all you have to do today. Two things. I want you to listen, and I hope you remember. We're here to remember those that have been lost. We're remembering and honoring transgender victims of fatal acts of violence. And that's here in our country. Ensuring their names are not forgotten. A reminder that transgender rights are human rights. It's just simply the right to be. It's simply a right to be who they are. And that our work in supporting transgender people has real life and death consequences. So just remember, if nothing else, the right to simply exist, the right to be. Transgender Day of Remembrance, also known as TDOR, was started in 1999 by a transgender advocate. Her name is Gwendolyn Ann Smith. Gwendolyn lives in the Bay Area, and she was so moved because it was not only her path, but so many that she loved has been lost. And honoring the memory of her friend Rita Hexter. Rita Hexter was a Black transgender woman who was killed in 1998. As you look at the pictures that we will display today, you will see a common thread. You will see a common thread in the color, mostly Black and brown people. The intersectionality of race and disability in the same community. The importance of understanding how someone's transgender identity intersect with other parts of their identity, such as race and disability. Approximately 4 out of 5 trans individuals killed every year are Black and brown, women of color. A recent study from Rice University found that trans women and men experience disabilities at a higher rate than their cisgender peers. The study named hugely increased levels of stress experienced by trans individuals and a lack of gender-affirming medical care as 2 likely contributors to this fact. For many of these victims, injustice continues after death. Victims were reported as using the incorrect pronouns. Many were subjected to dead naming or the act of using the name assigned to a transgender person at birth after they have changed their names to reflect their gender identity. Human Rights Campaign notes that the names we are about to share with you today may not be a comprehensive list of all of those who have been lost this year, who lost their lives to violence. As all too often, violence against transgender community goes unreported. And now we will have a reading of the names.
Image description: a black woman looking into the camera with black and blonde braids swooping across her forehead. Amara Lay, 20, was a black transgender woman who was a dancer and beloved coach for the Lady Diamonds, a hip-hop and majorette dance team. She was fatally shot on January 1st, 2022.
Image description: a black woman with short crew cut, distinctive eyebrows, and a thoughtful look on her face. Duvall Princess, age 24, was a black transgender woman just beginning to live her authentic self. She was a well-known hairstylist and an active member of the LGBTQ+ community in Jacksonville, Florida. Family members, friends, and clients remembered her as so sweet and genuine and an outgoing personality, and as a little firefly. She was shot to death on January 3rd, 2022. In an injustice compounding this tragedy, she was repeatedly misgendered and dead-named in several media reports.
Image description: a white young man in a colorful t-shirt, backwards black baseball cap, smiling at the camera while holding a young toddler in a pink onesie. Matthew Angela Spampinato, 21, was a transgender man who was a victim of a hit-and-run car crash in Newcastle, Delaware on February 9th, 2022. Matthew worked as a barista at Starbucks and was described as bright and kind by employees. One coworker said, "He was always so selfless. He would always ask how everybody was doing, even when he wasn't having a good day himself."
Image description: a black woman with black ringlet curls and large hoop earrings looking into the camera with a slight smile. Naomi Skinner, 25, was a black transgender woman who was described by a friend as being a very outstanding person. Her sister said Naomi lived a fabulous life. Naomi was fatally shot by her boyfriend on February 12, 2022, near Detroit in Highland Park, Michigan. Image description: a Latina woman with her head tilted while looking into the camera. She has long black hair, a small choker necklace, and polished makeup. Cypress Ramos, 21, was a Latina transgender woman who was loved in her local LGBTQ+ community in Lubbock, Texas. Her friend said that Cypress supported her drag performances and was her #1 fan. She was tragically found dead on February 13th, 2022.
Image description: a Latina woman in a hot pink t-shirt with elongated hoop earrings. She has long black hair, long purple nails, and is holding one hand to her cheek. Paloma Vasquez, 29, was a Latina transgender woman living in Houston, Texas. She was a member of the Organización Latina de Trans en Texas, an organization for Latina trans women. She was fatally shot on February 22nd, 2022. On social media, the founder of the organization wrote, "Vuela alto, Paloma, y que no te alcance nunca más el odio de este mundo. Descansa en paz," which translates to, "Fly high, Paloma, and may the hatred of this world never reach you again. Rest in peace."
Image description: the image is in black and white. A black woman with long, blonde, wavy hair smiling into the camera. Tatiana LaBelle, age 33, was a black transgender woman from Chicago who was loved by her friends and family. She was a fan of Mariah Carey and Patti LaBelle. On March 18th, 2022, Tatiana was found dead in Chicago. In an injustice compounding this tragedy, Tatiana was misgendered in some media and police reports.
Image description. A close-up image of an Asian American woman with long black hair and a large smile. Catherine Katie Newhouse, 19, was an Asian American neurodivergent transgender woman from Illinois who had a passion for hiking, sightseeing, and advocating for trans rights. On March 19, 2022, she was killed by her father in Georgia before he died by suicide using the same weapon.
Image description. A black woman with shoulder-length black hair wearing a white tank top with a thoughtful expression looking into the camera. Kenyatta Kesha Webster, 24, was a black transgender woman who was found dead in Jackson, Mississippi on Saturday, March 26, 2022. At a balloon release in Kesha's honor, her mother passionately called for justice for her daughter's death. I want justice for my baby because she was loved. She had plenty of love.
Image description. A black and white photo of a woman with a broad smile and long, light-colored hair wearing a floral shirt. Mia Love Parker, 25, was a black transgender woman who was remembered by friends as a brilliant light that brought joy into every room she entered. She was fatally shot in Chester, Pennsylvania on April 1st, 2022. Friends organized a vigil to celebrate her life. In an injustice compounding this tragedy, Mia was misgendered in some media and police reports.
Image description. A black girl looking into the camera with black and gray braids on each side of her face. Ariana Mitchell, 17, was a black transgender girl who was recalled by her family as truly unique, funny, and loved by everyone. She was a junior in high school and a member of a dance academy. Ariana Mitchell was killed on April 2nd, 2022 in Hampton, Virginia, after stating her gender identity to another person.
Image description. An individual surrounded by plants wearing a long brown sweater. The individual has long brown curly hair and is smiling. Fern Feather, 29, used both she, her, and they, them pronouns. Friends described them as a kind and free-spirited. They were known to bring joy to everyone around. Their friends remember them making others feel valued wherever they went. Fern was killed in Morristown, Vermont on April 12th, 2020. Or 2022.
Image description. A white man with a serious expression looking at the camera. He has short blonde hair, a black sweatshirt, and round glasses. Ray Muscat, 24, was a transgender man who was described by coworkers as a kind soul who had a glowing smile. On May 8th, 2022, Ray was shot and killed by his girlfriend in Independence Township, Michigan. In an injustice compounding the tragedy, Ray was misgendered in his obituary.
Image description. A Latina woman with long black hair and dangly earrings. Her eyes are outlined with black eyeliner, and she is looking into the camera with a serious expression. Sasha Mason, 45, was a Latina transgender woman who was a beloved family member and friend to many. On social media, Sasha's friends and family remembered her as a sweet, kind, and generous person with a beautiful smile who cherished her friends and family. On May 13th, 2022, Sasha was shot and killed in Zebulon, North Carolina.
Image description. A black woman with red hair tied in a bun, a white tank top, and several visible tattoos on her arm. She's looking into the camera with an exquisite expression. Nedra Sequence Morris, 50, was a black transgender woman who was strong, feisty, and opinionated, and loved talking to her many friends on the phone. On May 14th, 2022, Nedra was fatally shot in Opelika, Florida. More than 100 people held a vigil at an intersection where Nedra's body was found.
Image description: an Asian woman with her hair pulled back, wearing a black blouse and diamond stud earrings while smiling into the camera. Maddie Hoffman, 47, was a transgender woman born in Korea and raised in the United States by their adoptive family. They were killed by police in Malvern, Pennsylvania on May 19th, 2022. Maddie was one of 6 siblings. They had a deep bond with their younger sister, Emily, who was also adopted from Korea.
Image description: a black woman reclining while looking at the camera. She has long brown hair, a white tank top, and a thoughtful expression. Shenalika Hemingway, 30, was a black transgender woman who was known for a smile as bright as her future. She had just graduated from the University of Albany with a bachelor's degree, where she was the recipient of the 2022 Spelman Academic Achievement Award. She was killed in Albany, New York on May 31st, 2022. Her mom stated, "She was always proud of who she was, and so was I."
Image description: a black woman gazing down into the camera with a smile. She has a long black hair swooped down over her forehead and is wearing a brown sweater and a blue bracelet. Brazil Johnson, 28, was a black transgender woman, a passionate LGBTQ+ activist, a beloved daughter, and a talented chef. Brazil was also a member of Diverse and Resilient, an organization working to achieve health equity and improve the safety and well-being of LGBTQ+ people and communities in Wisconsin. Staff and members of Diverse and Resilient remember her as sweet and kind. Brazil was killed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on June 15, 2022.
Image description: a black woman in a formal black dress with curled long brown hair and polished makeup. Charmaine Marie, 27, was a black transgender woman who was born and raised in Gulfport. She worked as a personal care assistant and as a certified nursing assistant for almost 4 years. She was shot and killed in Gulfport, Mississippi on June 21st, 2022. On social media, her family and friends remembered her as a loving, funny, kind, and genuine person.
Image description: a black woman with long wavy hair, a black t-shirt, and hoop earrings. She is smiling into the camera while taking a selfie. Kitty Moore was a black transgender woman and was a beloved friend and loving mom to her 4 small dogs named China, Milan, Tokyo, and London, whom she posted countless photos of on social media. Kitty's death is believed to have been the result of domestic violence. She was killed outside of Memphis in Cordova, Tennessee on June 29th, 2022.
Image description: A woman wearing a black t-shirt with the gray zip-up sweatshirt on top, along with the pink, red, black striped beanie. She is smiling in the camera. Cherry Bush, 48, was a transgender woman who lived in Salomar neighborhood of Los Angeles, California, where she was experiencing homelessness. Cherry was shot and killed on July 5th, 2022. On social media, her brother called her his oldest friend.
Image description: a white man with a red shirt covered by a gray coat. He is wearing a red beanie and has a slight mustache and beard. He is smiling while gazing into the camera. Aaron Lynch, 26, was a transgender man who was shot and killed by police while he was experiencing a mental health crisis in McLean, Virginia on July 7th, 2022. Aaron was a critical thinker and talented writer. One teacher said Aaron was the single most powerful reason that I know I want to continue teaching. Upon hearing of Aaron's death, a college mentor lamented that there are breakthrough, world-changing books missing from our future shelves.
Image description: 2 images of the same black woman. In one, she is wearing a black dress and has long black straight hair. In the other, her hair is curly and the image has hearts overlaid on top. In both images, the woman is smiling at the camera. Natasha Richmond was a black transgender woman who was the victim of domestic battery that took her life on July the 11th, 2022. She was pronounced dead on the morning of July 12th, 2022. In an injustice compounding this tragedy, she was originally dead named by the medical examiner's office.
Image description: a black woman, a shoulder-length bob. Her hair is a combination of black and orange. She is wearing a white tank top, hoop earrings, and smiling at the camera. Keisha Chanel Gator, age 26, was a black transgender woman who was an inspiration to others and an advocate in the LGBTQ+ community. She loved her family and loved ones remember Keisha as a light that shined brighter than most. She was fatally shot in Augusta, Georgia, on July 20th, 2022. In an injustice compounding this tragedy, Keisha Chanel Gator was misgendered in some media and police reports.
Image description: a black woman with a short pixie haircut. Her hair is red with blonde tips, and she is wearing large round earrings. She is looking out of the side of her eyes into the camera with a slight smile. Candy Reed, 29, who also went by Camilla Marie Swan and Dee Dee, was a black transgender woman killed in Kansas City on July 24th, 2022. She was a model and a performer who was doubtlessly loved and appreciated by those closest to her.
Image description: a black woman with a white t-shirt and long black hair with brown ends. She has a large, beautiful smile and is looking in the camera. Hayden Davis, 28, was a black transgender woman who was shot and killed in Detroit on July 25th, 2022. Her interests were wide-ranging, from fashion and the Kardashians to skincare and makeup. Her smile was bright, and she had an active presence on social media.
Image description: a Honduran woman with long black wavy hair wearing a pink t-shirt with an image on the front. She's holding her cell phone and has a visible tattoo on her arm. Maricela Castro, 39, was a Honduran transgender woman. Maricela was killed in the northern neighborhood of Houston, Texas, on Friday, July 29, 2022. Maricela was born in Honduras and spent much of her life in North Carolina before moving to Houston to be closer to family. According to her friend Jorge Luis Lizardo, she was a bright and sunny person who had never made enemies.
Image description: an Indigenous person with their hair in a bun, wearing a black sweater with a white undershirt. They are looking bashfully away from the camera with a smile. A.C. Morrison, 30, was a two-spirit person who was a kind-hearted, down-to-earth, joyous, respectful, and loving soul, and a helpful and giving person who was always there for her family and friends. They were shot dead in Rapid City, South Dakota on August 21st. Two-spirit people are Indigenous North Americans who possess both a feminine and masculine spirit.
Image description: a black woman with large gold hoops, a gold necklace, and a gold nose ring. She has chin-length black hair and is looking into the camera with a smile. DDrix, 33, was a black transgender woman who was shot and killed in Detroit on August 27, 2022. Just before 3:40 a.m., Dee was found dead in her home in Detroit with gunshot wounds. There is little publicly known about Dee, but she will undoubtedly be missed by those who knew and loved her.
Image description: a black woman laying down as she looks into the camera. Her blonde braids and visible tattoos are on her arms. Maya Allen, 35, who was also known as Regina Allen, was a black transgender woman who was full of joy and laughter. Maya was active on social media, often posting selfies of her beautiful outfits and makeup. She was also a member of Sisters Helping each other battle adversity, a local advisory, empowerment, and support group of black transgender women. Maya was killed on August 29th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Image description: a black man wearing jeans with rips, a purple and white t-shirt, a white baseball cap, and a gold necklace with a large medallion. He is standing with his thumbs in his pockets. Sami Billingsley, 33, was a black transgender man who graduated from Florida Youth Academy before attending Florida State College at Jacksonville. He was a fan of Megan Thee Stallion and cared deeply about his friends. On September 21, Samaj was killed in Jacksonville, Florida.
Image description: a black woman with long, wavy brown hair. She is gazing into the camera with her head slightly tilted and a thoughtful expression. Tiffany Banks, 25, was a black transgender woman who was remembered by family and friends as a sociable and beautiful butterfly who loved to sing and dance. Tiffany was killed in Miami on October 1st, 2022. and an injustice compounding this tragedy, Tiffany was misgendered in many reports about her death.
Thank you all for the reading. In closing, there are a couple of things that I would like to remind you of. One is very sobering, but reminder that supporting gender diversity has life and death consequences. A reminder that this is not just a national issue. It is also a local issue. We were blessed that this year we did not have a local name on the list, but we have in the past, and we could again. On Tuesday of this week, a panel of local transgender individuals spanning different ages and races spoke to our staff about their experiences. We asked them, how can we support you? They spoke to us of the importance of asking for and respecting pronouns, of creating space where the safety of transgender individuals is a top priority, and of building cultures that are inclusive and welcoming to all. You know, that's a goal for us, building an inclusive space where everyone is welcome. That's not too hard. Finally, in closing, I would like to thank the individuals who were a part of planning today's event. Yuri Hattersfield, Lysel Olson, Helena Stevens, Tona Esperanza, Megan Copeland, Bianca Siegel, Marcus Johnson, Sarah Boyle, and Rebecca Sue. And I would also like to give another thank you. And that thank you is to our city manager, Brad Miyake, for his unwavering support of this event. And I omitted one name, Steve. Steve is not here today, so Steve, thank you also. What I would like to ask of everyone is I would encourage you to think about today's readings. Think about the names. There was one mother that said that this was my child, and my child was loved. I believe everyone could have said that about those folks that we saw. So remember, it's not a number, it's an individual. So I thank you all. For those of you who would like to sit quietly here in the council chamber, please feel free to do so. This was a very important message. I also realized it was a very heavy message, but it was a message that needed to be told. So thank you all, and have a good evening.